new season is nearly upon us, and seeing as we're only a few days away from the start of the season, I thought I'd make a video explaining pre-season and where we think we are for the season upcoming, and explain really the positions and where we think we stand in the table, and yeah, what we're going to do going forward. So yeah, I mean, starting off with an overview of the whole pre-season, we won 4 of our 5 games pre-season, had a pretty good record actually. We scored a few goals, but then also conceded a few goals. So there's definitely positives and negatives to take from that. And you look at the way we started pre-season, it was a 1-0 win against Solihull Moors in the Arthur Cup, and I think this is a decent performance. You saw Kesh Anderson make his debut back when he was a trialist, delivering across to Lukas Jukovic to deliver a trademark header. And yeah, that got us off to a good start in pre-season. And the second game, we was travelled out to Spain to play Cartagena, and this is a 2-1 win. And yeah, we look promising in this performance as well, and delivered a couple goals, and yeah, looked positive in that. And the third game was back in England against Northampton, a 1-0 win, courtesy of a goal from Jordan James, who yeah, was really prolific in pre-season. And the fourth game was a bit of a hectic one, but a 3-2 win nevertheless against Cheltenham Town. And the fifth game was a defeat against Peterborough United, which was yeah, settled by the first 15 minutes really, where the defence kind of capitulated really, and let Peterborough score the first 3 goals inside 15 minutes. And yeah, this was a concerning sign, but I think on the whole, it was a decent pre-season camp, and yeah, it was a good experience for the players, and there was a lot of young ones coming through, and older ones sort of getting minutes in the legs as well. And yeah, John Eustace described this really in his interviews afterwards, saying that, you know, it's all about the minutes really, and not necessarily about the results. So as much as they were mostly positive, you can't look too far into it. But yeah, with the season starting on Saturday against Swansea City, there's a lot to look forward to, and yeah, a lot to run through in terms of the positions. So I guess we'll start with the goalkeepers, and John Ruddy and Neil Etheridge. I think you know that Ruddy is going to be the number one this season, most likely going to be the captain as well, and he's a great leader. The way that he organises the back four, you can tell he's a commanding presence in the goal, and yeah, let a few goals in, but I think on the whole, there's not much to be concerned about. And I think if we can keep Etheridge as a backup, I know wages are a big issue, but if we can keep Etheridge as a backup, I think this would be a decent move for the club. And you look at the defenders as well. You've got Longello at left back, and there are questions to be asked about his defensive capabilities. If you look at the way that he defended in a couple of games, there's a bit to be nervous about. But we have got Lee Buchanan, who has come in, and I think Buchanan is a really good signing and will be someone that slots into that left back position in time. But I think for now, Longello is the guy going forward that we're going to go with. And the 2 centre backs we've got, well, Long and Roberts were favoured at the start of pre-season before the introduction of Dion Sanderson, and these two are experienced players. You know, they've played a lot of minutes in the EFL, but I'm still a bit concerned about them because, well, you saw a couple of the games where they were a bit caught out for pace, and I think having Sanderson there as a centre back with more pace would be a better addition going forward. But I think it is going to take time for the whole squad to properly gel together. And yeah, I mentioned there Dion Sanderson, who is a inductee late into the pre-season camp. He didn't travel out with the team to Spain, but did play the rest of the games in England. And yeah, Sanderson's a player that, you know, he's a fantastic addition. You look at the price we paid for him, £2 million. You know, it's a big signing for us. And in time, I think he will sort of get up to speed, because you saw the couple of games that he did play, it was a little bit slow, a little bit shaky, but I think that's all down to getting more minutes in the legs and getting up to full speed really. And you saw Ethan Laird as well at right back, another new addition to the club, and I think he's going to be a good player going forward as well, but is a bit of an injury concern. So at right back, there is a bit of a question about who we're going to go with against Swansea City, and one of the young names that's been featured is Marcel Oakley, who could start at right back for the Swansea game. And I'm a little bit concerned by this because, you know, he is a youngster and hasn't played much first team football, and put him in at right back in the first game of the season, it could be a bit of a risk. But moving on to the midfield, and I think this is our strongest area of the pitch really. I think a lot of fans know this, that we are sort of good for numbers in the midfield. I think there still could be one or two that come through the door in this position, but I think strengthening the attack and defence is a bit more of a priority. But if you look at the midfield this pre-season, there was a lot of youngsters that were given minutes, as well as some older players. But unfortunately, we didn't see much of George Hall or Koji Miyoshi, as both of them seem to have picked up injuries during pre-season, and they won't feature against Swansea, which is a real shame. But out of the players that did feature, I think there were some real star players here. You look at the performances of Jordan James, a player that looking to stake his claim in the starting 11 this season after appearing rather sporadically last season, and his season before he was given many more chances under Lee Bowyer, but with John Eustace, his minutes have been slightly limited. But I think this season he's going to get a lot more game time with the departure of some other names in that area, and yeah, I think Jordan James could have a really good season if he carries on his pre-season form onto the main season, and look at other young players as well that have come through the academy, like Alfie Chang, that have been given minutes. And Chang still is like a real steady player. Like, he looks good on the ball, and definitely a name to look out for going forward in the future, as well as Brandon Keeler, another young, exciting player from the academy that I think will have a good season. Should we keep him at the club and not send him out on loan? And some other names that a lot of fans know about. We got Juninho Bacuna, who struck against Cheltenham Town, scoring in the 3-2 win there. And he's a really exciting player, the Curacao international. And I think he's going to have a good season again this season. And pairing up alongside Christian Bielik, who's a new addition through the door at Birmingham, and a really important player to get through the door. And the fact that we have done is a fantastic bit of business. And he's going to have a good season, I think, holding it down in that defensive position. And another player that we've got now is Ivan Sunic, who obviously has played for the club before, but was on loan at Hertha Berlin last season, where he didn't have the best of times. But under a clean slate with the new ownership, I think Sunic could thrive. And hopefully his wages aren't too much of an issue to keep him sort of around the place. To hopefully not offload him and like balance the books. But it is a probability that this could happen. But apparently the club are open to offers right up until the opening day of the season. So whether Sunic remains in the plans or not is unheard. But I think, yeah, Sunic, if you were to keep him around, he's a good player to sort of contest the midfield, and he's going to run, and that is the question to be asked about whether he's good enough on the ball. But yeah, I think he could have a good season should he remain at the club. And you look at some of the options out wide; they are really exciting. But unfortunately, we didn't see much of Hort Miyoshi and what we said earlier. But Keshi Anderson as a player now, we've got an option out wide, and yeah, a trialist that came in that yeah, delivered right from the get-go, and he had a fantastic pre-season. A lot of fans wanted to start against Swansea, and I'm one of those fans really that wants him to start against Swansea because of his excellent ability on the ball. You saw his crosses where he delivered a couple of assists and also a couple of goals in pre-season as well. So it's a really exciting player, Keshi Anderson. And the other wing, you got Sriki Dembele, who is a phenomenal talent. You saw some of the skills that he can pull off. It's something that's going to get the fans off their seats, and a real flair player, but also a player with real direct attacking intent. And this is something we've been lacking in previous season. The player that we haven't really had for a while, someone that can take players on and really have a go at them. And he's going to be an exciting one to look forward to next season and keep a keen eye on. And through the middle, there are limited options, but I think we could have players that make their claim for the team as the season progresses. And there could be a couple more bodies through the door as well, as John Eustace looks to keep his options open. But yeah, in the midfield department, you've got players such as Gary Gardner, who didn't feature too much during pre-season, that could be offloaded or could stay around as he is an experienced body. But yeah, there are other names that have been spoken about to come through the door, but I'm pretty confident and comfortable with our midfield at the moment. Onto the striking options now, and I guess there's three main names to talk about in this category, with the departure of Sam Cosgrove looking pretty probable. And the three names in question here are Tyler Roberts, Scott Hogan, and Lukas Jukovic, who all featured in pre-season. And you look at the names, you see Tyler Roberts arrived this summer for a fee of around £550,000, and was the first addition through the door, I guess, of the new regime. And yeah, Tyler Roberts looks like a good player. I mean, he's someone that's already been promoted from the Championship before with Leeds United, playing in a way under Marcelo Bielsa, which required a lot of running and a lot of stamina. And I think we've seen through Roberts in pre-season that he can move sort of in between the lines and drop deep as well. And I think it is probable that you could see him operating a number 10 role come the start of the season, with options limited sort of further down the line in midfield. And he could sort of drop into this area and have a Jukovic or a Hogan playing a bit further forward. And I do like Roberts for his versatility, and I think he is someone that could occupy different positions in the attacking area. So I'm looking forward to seeing Roberts play regularly in a Birmingham shirt. And with Lukas Jukovic, you know what you're going to get from him. He's a direct threat, and someone that he could hoist the ball up to and make something out of nothing. So you know what you're going to get from Juki. And with Hogan, it's a different question. It's whether which Hogan turns up on the day, because you get the prolific goal scorer one moment and then a rather dry patch in front of goal with his goal against Peterborough United, his first goal since February. So goes to show that he does score goals in spells, but maybe not for a consistent amount of time. And that's why a lot of fans are wanting a striker through the door before the start of the season. And I completely understand this. But I reckon it will be Hogan that gets the nod on the opening down the season with Roberts playing a bit deeper with Juki as a sub to maybe bring on and change the game if we do need a bit more of a direct threat. But these three are sort of good players, but I think we could do with another striker before the transfer window closes, and that's why I'm being linked with the likes of Tom Cannon. And I would like to see another striker come through the door, but what we've got at the moment should be sufficient until September. But yeah, please let us know in the comments below what you think going into the new season, and a predicted 11 of what you think could start against Swansea City. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and most importantly, keep right on.